regular meeting of the City Council for the City of Daly City for Monday, May 9, 2016. Can I have all of you rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Hopefully this day.
Okay, for those of you wishing to address the City Council on any item on the agenda or under public appearances or oral communication, if you haven't done so already, at the entrances of the City Council chamber, there are these white cards. Simply get one, fill it out, and then give it to somebody up on the dais or down below to give it to us as early in the meeting as possible. Can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen?
Here.
Mr. Canepa?
Here.
Mr. Gingona?
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Present.
Mr. Torres?
Present. All right, we're all here. We have a couple of presentations tonight before we begin. The first one is from Benjamin Pham. He's the FBLA advisor. This is a presentation on the Westmore Future Business Leaders of America. Benjamin, welcome. Come on up. Good evening. Come right up to the middle there.
Okay. I never done this before. So my name is Benjamin Pham. I'm the advisor for Westmore High School, and I know I look young, but this is actually my second year advising Westmore Future Business Leaders of America, or FBLA in short. And FBLA has one goal in mind: to bring business and education together. And we achieve this in three separate avenues. The first is community service. Students provide community service, and they seek out opportunities, not only just in Daly City, but in just the San Mateo County and as well as San Francisco. So they choose who they want to partner with, work with, and they help out small businesses mostly out on that end, and just any individual seeking and asking for help. The second approach to how we bring business and education together is through conferences in this case. And conferences are held not only in California, not only in the Bay Area, but also throughout the national level, so around other states. This year, we typically go to a conference called LDI, Leadership Development Institute. And we go down to Santa Clara, where a lot of students meet business professionals, not only from the Bay Area, but also from Southern California. There, they get to learn how to network, talk to other peers, and just socialize. How do we build communication? How do we network and build relationships with other people? And the last appeal to FBLA would be the competitions. There are over 80 different competitions in Future Business Leaders of America, and they can range anything from accounting, personal finance, to even projects such as partnership with business, local chapter annual business report. And there they compete. They compete with people in the Bay Area, they compete people within the state and in nationals. And this year it was really competitive, and Westmore did tremendously well. We had 78 competitors at Westmore High School, and of those 78, half of them were finalists. In addition to that, those half, so a quarter, made it to the state level. And we ended up bringing 48 people at the state level, and at the state level this year, we have 19 people who qualified for nationals, one of which is already a state championship for the partnership with business. And on that, I don't really have much. If you have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Pham?
Great job.
Sounds wonderful.
Thanks for your hard work. How many students do you have in your program in Westmore?
Ooh, we have currently about 150 members.
And what are the typical companies do you have at this LDI?
Companies that usually go there are arranged by the directors of the Bay Area. This year we had, I believe, LinkedIn was there, Google made it, Microsoft was there, and there was another one which I'm forgetting, which isn't really the best thing right now. But I know Y Media Labs.
Okay.
And we had a business tour there too this year.
Good. Congratulations. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to follow that up with proclaiming May 15th to 21st, 2016 is National Public Works Week, and we have John Fuller, our Director of Public Works, here tonight to walk us through this. Good evening, Mr. Fuller.
Good evening. Public Works Week is recognized throughout the United States by
many,
Oh,
if
there
not
was one. Okay,
all
that's right.
cities.
I thought there was, I thought maybe you were just going to talk about it, but let me go down there.
Okay,
He's going, when am I going to get my certificate?
Who was hiding?
I was wondering, I thought maybe you were just going to talk about it.
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you.
Okay, we, on behalf of the mayor and the city council, I have a proclamation here for National Public Works Week, and usually this gives some attention to the great work that they do. So, whereas May 15th through 21st, 2016 is celebrated as National Public Works Week. There are a number of whereases here, but the ones that are important are that National Public Works Week is a celebration of the men and women who provide and maintain the infrastructure and services collectively known as public works, with the 2016 theme as Public Works, Always There. That's so fitting. Whereas the support and understanding of an informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operations of public works programs such as water, sewer, streets, public buildings, parks, stormwater pollution prevention, and traffic management. Whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services and the efforts and skills of dedicated public works employees. And whereas as long as the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of these facilities works smoothly, the people behind the scene are often forgotten. So now, therefore, Sal Torres, on behalf of all of us, proclaims May 15th through 21st as National Public Works Week in the city of Daly City, and he calls upon all residents and civic organizations in the community to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing effective public works and to recognize the contributions which public works employees make every day to our health, comfort, and quality of life. And it's signed by all of us, and congratulations. Mr.
Thank
Fuller.
you. If I could just say a few words, Mayor?
Absolutely, please, go ahead.
Firstly, you heard it in the resolution that this is not just for public works, but it also represents the efforts of the Department of Water and Wastewater, which is a separate department in this city, but is often covered by public works and other agencies. Public Works has been struggling the last couple of years because of reductions in our budget and our staffing levels, but no reduction in the inventory of material of assets and infrastructure that we have to maintain. I'm happy to report that we've embarked on a team-building effort within the department, spearheaded by Assistant City Manager Julie Underwood, to develop a new mission statement for the department and values charter for the department to hopefully re-energize the department and continue to move into the future with a positive attitude, even though we have a bigger than ever chore ahead of us with the reduced budgets and lower staff than we used to have. So thank you very
All right,
much for
thank you,
this.
John.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on our agenda, we're now at the point where we're going to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of April 25, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those minutes are approved. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda? So moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That agenda is approved. We now get to the consent agenda. Again, consent agendas are items listed on here which are considered to be routine and may be approved by one roll call vote of the city council. There's usually no separate discussion unless it's called upon by the city council or a member of the public. Then we remove the item, such as tonight. I've had a request from Councilwoman Judith Christensen to remove item number 4. So with the exception of item number 4, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all items except for 4 have been approved. Item number 4 is entitled Eliminating Daily Overdue Fines on Children's and Teen Library Cards. So, Pat, did you want to speak on this? Ms. Martel?
I certainly can, but we also have the library services manager. Chayla, if you want to come up and
Oh,
join me.
okay, got it. You can come up here if you want. Come on up here. Got to get on the hot seat. How you doing?
So this particular item before you is recommending that we join with all of the other member libraries of the Peninsula Library System in implementing a new youth library card for patrons who are under 18 years of age. and it will apply to all existing PLS patrons under 18. Effective July 1, it was recommended by the Peninsula Library System Board that daily overdue fines on those youth library cards will be eliminated. Current and future fees related to lost or damaged materials on youth library cards accounts will remain unchanged. And I will say, and I will let Chayla speak further to this issue, we were not in support of this particular measure by the Peninsula Library System, not in any way to be punitive. But I think it's been a long-standing policy of the library to try and teach children and youth to be responsible about the use of library materials, to check them out freely, but to return them when they're due. And the fines have not been intended to be really punitive, it's been more so to try and teach kids to be responsible. And so we were not in favor of it. It's not a huge revenue maker for us at all. So that is not the intent of it. But the Peninsula Library System has really been an advocate of not requiring fines. And I'll turn it over to Chayla and let her detail that, because she attends our PLS regular meetings.
Good evening.
Hi, Joe.
So we met as a board to discuss the issue of
A little
fines.
closer to you.
Sure.
Thanks.
So an ad hoc committee was formed to discuss the issue of fines for youth. And it's a matter of balancing, of course, access. All the libraries prioritize access to all of our patrons, young and old, and balancing that with, of course, making sure that our materials are equally available to everyone, that they're returned in time so that they are available for the next person to check out. The group as a whole, the vast majority, were in favor of eliminating the fines because they looked at the disproportionate number of youth cards versus adult cards that did have blocks, that they had reached the threshold at which they would no longer be able to check out books, and they found that unacceptable. So they're proposing that they're actually creating a new card type for young people that would eliminate these fines entirely. But as the city manager said, they are still responsible, of course, for returning the materials undamaged when they are done.
I have a question for you since you're on the PLS committee. Given that so many youth now have, as a matter of fact, almost a cell phone, are the cards or the notifications of overdue library materials tied to an app that they can have on their phone that alerts them that something's due or about to be overdue?
So the library does offer a variety of services for this purpose. There is an app that they can put on their phone. We also provide email courtesy pre-overdue notices that will go to the email address that's on record, often, especially for young kids. This is the parents. We do, of course, still provide a receipt at checkout, which has the due date. And you can go online to, on your library account, see what's checked out at any time and renew if you need to.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Jim?
No, I just wanted them to share the fact that access to books for children, when you look at the statistics, summer's coming up. We want those kids in that library and reading all summer long. So I'm pleased to see this. Now, if we can just teach them to be responsible.
Right.
Indeed. And starting June 1st, as every year, we will be beginning our summer learning program. There'll be all
Excellent.
kinds of fun things happening at the library. Anyone who wants to come in and sign up, any kid, you get a free book for joining the program, and of course for completing another free book.
All right.
Thanks for your work. Thank you very much, both of you. All right, with that, is there a motion to approve item number 4?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion's been approved. Excuse me, that matter's been approved. Okay, we're moving on to public hearings.
We have check registers, or that's already
That's part of the
covered?
consent agenda. yeah.
Okay, good.
Number 9, approval of benefit assessments for Linda Vista area for fiscal year 2016-2017. Mr. Fuller.
The Linda Vista and Bay Ridge Mains Assessment Districts were formed in 1990 to maintain drainage facilities unique to the Bay Ridge, Bay Vista, and Linda Vista subdivisions. 2 districts were actually formed to serve the 3 subdivisions, Bay Ridge and Linda Vista. We're recommending no changes in the assessments from last year. So for Linda Vista, it will be $151.13 a year, and for Bay Ridge, it'll be $100.46. Did I get those right? Because I transposed them on my notes. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got them right. Normally, we have neighborhood meetings to inform the residents about any changes in the district. Last couple of years, they've been poorly attended because I assume everybody is satisfied with the service they're getting and the amount of the assessments. We do hold quarterly inspections of both of the assessment district detention basins and any other facilities that are maintained on a quarterly basis, where Corporation Yard Maintenance Supervisors and the Superintendent, Jeff Renese, go out and review everything on the site, make lists of anything that needs to be addressed, and hopefully have it addressed before the next inspection. Oftentimes, this means that we're out there right around the same time we're doing our we're doing this process to update the assessments, so sometimes residents feel like we're only out there cleaning things up just because we're about ready to assess them, but that's not, in fact, that's not the case.
Right.
It's just timing. Also, that spring comes and the weeds grow, and so we're out there a little more right now just to take care of those kinds of things. As far as I know, we've received no complaints, and the assessments will remain the same as last year.
Okay. Great, thank you. At this point, I'll open the public hearing and note that there are no cards. And I don't think anyone's running up to speak on this, so is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing's closed. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Have a roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen?
Yes.
Mr. Canepa?
Aye.
Mr. Gangona?
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye. Okay, item number 9 has been approved. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. We're going on to award of bids and contracts. Under this section, we have a matter of appropriating unallocated general funds and an award of a construction contract for the Serramonte Library restroom and accessibility upgrades.
Just one point of clarification. There was actually a change in the title in the staff report that didn't get reflected in the actual agenda. So it's really appropriate from the general fund contingency as opposed to, which is just a slight change in wording. This project was originally received a $100,000 Measure A grant for unspecified library improvements. The city at the time, this was a couple of years ago, matched that $100,000 with $50,000 of general fund monies. It was felt that rather than spending the money on things like new carpet and paint, which don't have as much bang for the buck, that remodeling the bathrooms would be the most advantageous project for the ceremony library, because the bathrooms were not ADA accessible, and there was even a case where somebody in a wheelchair actually got stuck in the bathroom and had to be helped to get out. So we embarked on a restroom remodeling project. On March 31st, we received over 6 bids on the project, ranging from $80,000 to over $500,000. Garrett Construction's bid of $79,000 was considered non-responsive because he forgot to address the modifications necessary to the fire sprinkler system because of the rearrangement of the rooms. So his bid has been rejected as non-responsive. The next 2 bidders were actually very close in price, approximately $179,000 each, with a few $100 difference in price. So we know the prices, the bids are good, but they're significantly higher than the engineer's estimate for this project, which is mostly driven by the fact that right now we're just seeing a building boom, and they're building all over the place, and contractors can kind of get the price that they want. The only thing we could do to make this project cheaper would be potentially wait until the next recession happened and the contractors got more hungry, because we have 2 bids that are practically right on top of each other. We also had the facilities tested for lead paint and asbestos in the floor mastic and floor tiles of the existing bathroom, and both were detected. So there's a $25,000 to $40,000 cost to remove those 2 hazardous materials prior to construction. So in the final analysis, we need to appropriate an additional $139,000 to this project to fully fund it. And we're recommending that you do that and award the project to Segura Construction of Santa Clara County, from Santa Clara, in the amount of...
John,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Are you saying another $139,000 over the
Over the
$125,000 estimate?
No,
So
over
that
the
would-
$150 for the total project.
Ah,
So it's, the total budget for the project would be about $185,000.
Oh, got it, okay.
But the contractor is only getting
That-
paid
That would
$179,000.
be in line. Okay, now we get it. Makes sense. Okay.
Through the chair, if I might, Mr. Mayor, and I haven't even had a chance to talk with the Public Works Director about this. I actually have been in conversation with a potential funder to help support these improvements and actually enable us to complete all the other improvements that we were looking at. So I'm not at liberty at the moment to say whether or not the funding will come through, but it's looking like it is a real strong possibility. And upgrading Ceremony Library as much as possible to meet ADA requirements beyond the restrooms is something very important to this potential funder. So I'm hoping that we're going to be successful and secure some additional funds to complete the project in the manner that I think it really needs to be done.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
And I might add that we actually added to this project before we actually put it out to bid, modifications to the front door so that there's a power-operated front door, because none of our libraries have power-actuated doors. So if somebody needs that kind of assistance to get in,
You get a little closer to the microphone.
sorry, we'll have power-assisted doors installed as part of this project as well.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen?
Yes.
Mr. Canepa?
Aye.
Mr. Gangona?
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye. Okay, the resolution is adopted. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Good work. Moving on to the section called resolutions. Under resolutions, item number 11, we have a proposed internet safe exchange zone. Captain Gammas, you're up. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The Safe Exchange Zone proposed to us by Vice Mayor Canepa and worked with City Manager Pat Martell to research the Safe Exchange Zone. We really used Clovis as a model. Clovis opened their Safe Exchange Zone in November of 2015. We talked to them about their Safe Exchange Zone and some of the positives. To provide the public with a place to do internet commerce in a safe environment. The police department has been a location for many years where families have come to do child custody exchanges. So it's a safe place for people to come and exchange their children to comply with the custody order or the agreement. We believe that the Safe Exchange Zone has merit. We think it's a good idea. We think it does provide for public safety. We've located a place in the parking lot, 2 parking stalls in the northwest portion of the parking lot. As part of the program, we thought it was responsible to provide security coverage through high-definition cameras. We currently do have a high-definition camera system attached to the police department, which covers part of the parking lot. The initial idea with that was to cover the 2 emergency red phones in the front parking lot. Unfortunately, we could not cover the proposed Safe Exchange Zone area with that camera, so we felt the best thing to do would be to install another high-definition camera and server to be able to capture that area. Initially, there was not funding in our budget, and there was no money available through asset forfeiture due to asset forfeiture in December of 2015 being essentially cut off by the federal government. In March of 2016, those dispersals resumed, and we received over $100,000 in dispersals. At that time, we met with the chief and Captain Hensley and decided that we could fund this project. We thought the project did have a public safety nexus and proposed that to the city manager, who agreed, and we're here to discuss the internet safe zone or answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions from the council?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Oh, I actually have some questions. I would like you to share with the public what city responsibility if they use that area, because they don't have the report that we have. So if you could share that with us.
So what our responsibility is, so what
Right.
we
So
will
what are you
provide-
actually providing for people?
Sure. So we're providing a location in the form of 2 parking stalls striped and identified specifically for internet commerce or a safe exchange zone. That space is provided. There'll be signage to essentially notify the public that this is a safe exchange zone and that we will essentially not be liable for any negative or any violence or anything that may occur in that zone. But we will have the ability, in the event that something happens in that area, to capture the images of both license plate vehicles, people involved, faces, with some degree of, or a high degree of resolution, and be able to follow up on any investigation.
And I ask that because the word safe implies that you're safe by being there. But it's a place designated and it will be watched, but it's not going to prevent a crime. It will help solve a crime. And we're hoping just the fact that it's at City Hall will help prevent
think it-
some as well.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's two-pronged. I think
yeah.
it's
But I want to be clear that we're not guaranteeing safety.
If I might just add, I think what Captain Gomez has said is absolutely accurate. I think what you're referring to, Councilwoman, is that it will provide a deterrent. It's not going to
Right.
guarantee that, a robbery might not occur in the process of an exchange, but it is hoping to be a deterrent for people, knowing that there will be a camera there and there will be a way to monitor and to capture with high resolution any activity going on in the parking lot and the ability to capture the license plate. I want to take it one step further, though, because the other liability issue that we need to be really clear to people is that we're also not warranting that when any kind of exchange comes from any kind of an internet purchase, we're not warranting what people are buying. We can't guarantee that it's high quality, that it works, or any related issues. If someone's buying a car from someone and they come and make the exchange there, we're not guaranteeing that the car is going to be what is being the way it's being characterized to whoever is the buyer may be. So all of those warranty issues that would arise between two consumers, the city has no liability to warrant in any way that what's being sold between two consumers is something that each of them knowingly and willing are purchasing. So we have to be really clear about that as well. And we've talked to the city attorney about that because we want to be clear in the language that we post on the signs that will be there, that make it very clear that the zone is being provided for this service, but that we are not liable for whatever occurs between consumers at that location.
So those are the points exactly that I wanted to address. And I think that the question is by doing this, have we created any liability? And what I'm hearing is that we're not creating any more liability than what we would have had we not done something like this.
Correct.
Kind of like under the same theory that we have a skate park where we let people skate.
Correct. That's
We
correct.
tell people about the inherent dangers of skating, yet if we have someone there watching it, that would create a duty. We're not creating any duties here, correct?
I don't believe we're creating a duty.
No, and actually, just to dovetail on that, the fact that and maybe this is a little too beyond my role as a city councilman, but and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Mayor, but by actually putting a notice that we're not accepting liability, actually bolsters an agreement, or excuse me, an understanding that in a court of law, a court will look at it as, what reliance did you have on the safety measure? Did you expect it? And they're going to use a reasonable standard. What would a reasonable person expect to have at this place? If you don't have a sign, they can say, well, it could go either way. What a reasonable, but by having the sign, you can further bolster the argument that, look, we did not take responsibility. In fact, we told you we weren't. And so it just underscores the fact that people would not be reasonable in assuming that just because they're in city property or in front of a city police department, that they somehow have a heightened sense of security.
And And we've not absolved them of their own
Exactly,
assumption of risk,
exactly,
which is
exactly.
inherent
Right.
in every one of these things, is their
Exactly.
assumption that there is a risk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not to say people will not sue, or they always will, but at least we've done everything we could as a city, as a police department, to tell people, just in case you wondered, we're not taking any responsibility. Okay? Any other questions?
I know that people have used City Hall for exchanging things for a long time. I've seen people in the lobby come in
Yep.
and sit on the benches right in front of the police department. I've seen people even come right up to the door, one on one side of the door, one on the other, because they figure if something goes bad, they just holler and someone will be there to protect them. And it doesn't protect people from being followed home from the exchange, which is something that people need to think about as well.
I just want to commend Vice Mayor Canepa for bringing up this issue, and I would gladly second his motion.
Thank you. Okay, there's been a motion and a second, and we can do this by voice vote, can't we? Roll call better? Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen,
Yes.
Mr. Canepa,
Aye.
Mr. Gangona,
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Mr. Torres.
Aye. All right, the zone is approved. Thank you very much, Mr. Katsianis. All right, good job.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to item number 12. This is an adoption of salary and other health and welfare and fringe benefits for executive management employees, city clerk, and city treasurer. Hello, Ms. Maltby, how are you?
Hello, good evening, Mayor Torres and council members. Tonight, staff is recommending that council, can you hear me? Yeah. Adopt a resolution to implement salary adjustments, stipend adjustments, health and welfare, and fringe benefits for executive management employees, the city clerk, and the city treasurer. As you know, we have 11 bargaining units in Daly City, and this past year, we were able to reach agreements with each and every one of those collective bargaining units through the collective bargaining process, and obviously with your direction and support. The adjustments that staff is asking you to consider tonight for executive management, city clerk, and city treasurer are fully consistent with the previous adjustments that we've given to all of our recognized bargaining units, and to the miscellaneous unrepresented group, which you recently approved in April of this year. So staff is recommending that the city council adopt a resolution to implement these adjustments for the remaining employee groups, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, before we open up for a public hearing, is there any questions for Ms. Maltby? Okay, let's go. We have a number of cards in deference to your position. I'll start with Annette Hipona. You want some of the time, Annette?
I have a few minutes.
Okay. I'll trust
You may
you.
try, you may.
Pre-timed.
Very
Go for
good.
it.
As a resident of Daly City for 53 years, I've seen my city in good times and bad times, and now at its worst time. I walk daily in my original Daly City neighborhood, where we've had to endure the lack of tree cutting services, maintenance services, and unkept city parks. I've seen and reported sidewalks that are unsafe and which took nearly a year to get repaired. Recently, it took a month to get my burnt-out street light replaced. I've reported many different safety issues to the appropriate city staff. While most of these requests are taken care of quickly, it is always with the excuse that there is no money to do the most important maintenance of the city. I've served Daly City as its elected full-time city clerk for more than 7 years. In these years of constant budget crisis, we in the city clerk's office have been working hard processing passports and bringing in nearly $750,000 into the city coffers to provide greater service to the city or to the public. Every department has been told to cut their bare bones budget even more. These cuts are significantly reducing public services. We are asking our community to do less with more so we can make bigger salaries is not right. I may have said that backwards. I am shocked to read the agenda report increasing salary and benefits for me, the city manager, and executive management staff. Even after this council cut my salary in half in what the civil grand jury called unjustified and political retribution, I am still asking the council to say no to our increased salaries. No raises for me, executive staff, or city manager. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dana Smith. Good evening, Ms. Smith.
Good evening. At the last meeting, we heard about the dire situation of our city budget. which is projected to get worse and worse and worse. I'm asking you tonight to do not increase the salaries of our executive staff. They are amply compensated, with perhaps the exception of Annette Habona, whose salary was cut in half. They are amply compensated. The city is in a really serious situation, and please take this to heart. Do not give any executive salary raises. Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn Sylvester. Good evening, Mr. Sylvester.
Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this issue. Wow, from what I've heard so far, I'm completely surprised. I'm not privy to the information that was provided to council in determining the percentages for the executive pay, but I was concerned because my feeling is, has a study been done to compare Daly City with other cities of similar population, and what do those folks get paid? That's a big concern that I had. 2015 budget ending June 30th, 2015, I show a 14.2 million surplus here in the city of Daly City. And it was said earlier that it's consistent with other bargaining units within Daly City, but I haven't seen that information, and I feel it should be fair to everybody within the city, not just top-level executives. Not too long ago, we had information on outsourcing our 911 dispatchers, and I did a study on that, and I found that in other comparable cities, some dispatchers make close to 30% more than what they regularly get paid. So who is managing those folks? That is the problem that we have here. Until we can start managing our staff and city workers to reduce the overtime so that we can save money, perhaps we need to take a second thought. So all in all, all I'm asking is a pay raise is well-deserved, but it should be in comparison with other cities of Daly City's size and what they make. Thank you so much.
Pamela Di Giovanni.
I'm sorry?
No, I've just called
okay.
the next speaker. You're done.
He wants mine too.
Good evening, Mr. Giovanni.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. I'm here tonight. I won't repeat the numbers as Mr. Sylvester did, but I will say that after speaking with several community members, they're opposed, obviously, to the executive management. And we have seen a lot, like, to where our city has suffered in services and things have been cut. And the recent discussion on our 911 dispatchers, which, as you know, is a very touchy issue, which only saves $300,000 a year, and will be compensated when we have our growth and our Dave and Buster's and things that are growing at this time. We have to be patient with one another, and rents are going up in our area, and it would send a very terrible message if the city council, given the fact that we, the public, are the ones that are giving you the pay here in our city. We have to remember that at times, and I know it's hard at elected and it's hard to make decisions, and city managers really have a hard time making a budget ends, and that people are well-deserved, and it's good for morale to get raises. I'm not against people getting raises. This is just not the time, and we don't want our Engine 95 closed and our public safety in that area. We need to reassess, and maybe we can come think out of the box, as Mayor Torres has said on several occasions. And I think we need to look at other ideas that other people have proposed in different venues that electeds attend. And maybe there's some great ideas that we can bring to the table and increase our sales tax or whatever we need to do. And we, the people, will go along with that, whatever you need to do, but not our public safety and executive management, not at this time. And as you heard, most of them probably would like for us, we the people that pay the salaries, be happy with us as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Especially the elections.
Thank you. I have no more cards on this matter. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
No, actually, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong heading, sorry. Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
I'll make a comment if I may.
Okay,
I am
you
not.
go first.
I'm sorry. Did you want to go first?
No, go first.
Mr. Benatura, then Ms. Christensen.
I have publicly stated that I am not in favor of this increase. You know, the community is worried right now. They're worried because there are rumors and talks about shutting down a fire station or shutting down some libraries or cutting some drastic costs. And I'm not saying that our executive management doesn't deserve a raise, but what I am saying, not now. And I think we are having, in the middle of these budget talks that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, I think we can wait to hear what our financial situation is after the end of our talks and once our budget has been perfected. And so I appreciate what our executive management, city clerk, city treasurer, and all of them have done, but this is not the right time to increase their salaries, given our financial situation in Daly City. That is my position.
Thanks. Ms. Christensen.
For more than a decade, I and many of my neighbors have been coming to this council, either on this seat or out there at the podium, saying this, that Daly City, when you compare the executive salaries to other cities, then you compare the incomes of the people who live in Daly City. This is you look at our median income in this city, it's significantly lower than Menlo Park or, you know, any of those cities south, Redwood City, any place, San Mateo, Burlingame, Hillsborough. So for me, I look at people who work hard every day. They come home exhausted. Married couples barely see each other because one works in the day and one works in the night because someone has to take care of the children. It's a real stretch. And to tell a person who makes $35,000 a year that executive management is going to be compensated, their full compensation is going to be over $300,000, that is, I mean, just look at that. That's not right. I never had that kind of salary, and I survived just fine. I don't want to insult our staff, and I don't want to disrespect them. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of what is morally right in a city that has a lot of poor people living in it. And I think the decisions that were made back around 2000, when city workers' salaries were raised 6%, and then another 6%, and then another 6% over 3 years, that's more than an 18% increase. And that amount has been carried on because we didn't ever cut back on that. It just keeps going. So I think some of the decisions that were made all those number of years ago are now, we're in an even more financial problem. And my concern also then is about the impending liability we have for people's retirement. People here get 3% of their highest salary times the number of years they've worked every year for the rest of their life. So that means if you've worked here 30 years, you get 90% of your salary every year for the rest of your life. And recently, the longevity, the actuarials about retirement have changed because we're all living longer. There's the highest growing part of our population, people over the age of 100. That's the highest percentage that's going up. And I say 100-year-olds rock. But so that's why I'm against this. It's a moral issue, it's a social justice issue, and I've been saying it for more than a decade, and I'm not changing my mind now.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution? I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Let's have a roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen,
No.
Mr. Canepa,
Aye.
Mr. Gingona,
Aye.
Mr. Buenaventura,
No.
Mr. Torres.
As I vote yes, I'm going to say a few words here, and some of you may not like it. When I have conversations with my 17-year-old daughter, I tell her, strive to be better than me. If you can be an executive somewhere, you're going to do well. It would be disingenuous for me to not vote in favor of this while I tell my daughter to strive to be better than who I was. Just because somebody's name has a title with the word executive and management next to it is no reason to distinguish them separate and independent from every other employee in the city whom we've already given raises to. These people are no different than you. They happen to have a different career path than other people. But just because they've had a different career path and ended up in careers that pay more is no reason to then turn around and vilify them and punish them for having chosen that career path. Secondly, and more importantly, if we are going to take the position that this is not the right time to do the raises, then by that reasoning, we should not have given raises to anybody in the city. And that means all the public safety officers who do get 3% at 55. It would have been a lot of other employees who got raises this year. If we're using that reasoning, we would not have dipped into reserves to make certain raises. That is the reasoning. That is one of the reasons we are doing this tonight, because there are some folks, this matter's closed, by the way. There are some folks who have executive manager titles or positions. No, I got to finish what I'm going to say. This is important. They can't afford a house. They can't afford to live here either. So don't be judging people by the number of numbers they have in their salary, because that isn't right either. All right, I'm done with my triad, so let's go on.
I don't know you.
My vote was yes. I said as I vote yes on this. Okay, let's go on to item number 13. Second reading of an ordinance, amending zoning ordinance and establishing plan development standards. Ms. Zimmerman, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item came before the City Council in the first reading. This is the second reading for ordinance number 1408, amending zoning ordinance and planning standards PD 71, and this is for adoption.
I don't
Second
have any cards on 13. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Second.
Can we roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen?
Yes.
Mr. Canepa?
Aye.
Mr. Gingona?
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye. Okay, matter's been approved. Ordinance is adopted. We're on to public appearances. Ronnie Miller. Good evening, Ms. Miller.
Good evening. I'm here again representing the American Cancer Society to remind everybody that June 4th and 5th is our Relay for Life. And I've been told tonight that all 5 of our members of the council will be there. And you will honor us, hopefully, with a few words. And I want the public to know, please come out. I'm sure you all have members that you want to honor or somebody that you'd like to have in memory of. And there will be a way to do that. We have a luminaria walk at sundown where a bag is lit in memory of or in honor of your family member or friends. And it's a very touching, beautiful thing to see. So for $10, you can do that. You can honor or put somebody's name down in memory of. Just come and help, where every year it gets harder and harder, and we understand people, it's difficult to put their hands in their pocket, but the Cancer Society is doing wonders, and their research is coming up with a lot of good things. So hopefully we'll see everybody there. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Jonah Miller. Keep it in the family. Good evening.
Your Honor, Mayor Saltorres, right, and members of the council. It has come to my attention, and the reason I'm bringing it up, I know it's going to be brought up at a later date, but we don't have a newspaper in Daly City, and I wanted to use any particular venue to get this information out. It has come to my attention that due to budget constraints, Daly City is considering closing firehouse containing engine number 95. I'd like to give you some present numerical facts. I know I only have 2 minutes, so I've cut this down, but I can verify my numbers to you. This station in the past year has accomplished a 92% reliability rating of handling emergency calls. within the assigned district that covers the St. Francis Heights area. That's 92%. They successfully handled approximately, ready for this, 14,000 calls, emergency and non-emergency. On arrival, their arrival time has been averaged to 11 minutes. Now, for a guy like me who has a bad heart and needs resuscitation, 11 minutes is great. But if you close that one that's less than a mile from my house, I might not make it. This was accomplished 90% on all calls, okay? 11 minutes. This was accomplished with very few, with a very low fire loss. Fire loss has been $17.41 per capita, with a goal, their goal was 32%. So we're better than anybody. Our firefighters are the best you can have.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I need you to wrap up, okay?
The city of Daly City continued to maintain its insurance services a Class 2 rating, which has the ability to have individual property and business owners by reducing fire premiums paid to insurance companies. This will obviously change, and our rates will go up if we close that fire station.
Okay, thank you.
Our firefighters'
Jonah?
advanced life
Jonah?
support. Last item, okay?
Okay.
Our firefighters' advanced life support, in which over 60% of the total EMS calls benefited and served our senior citizens of Daly City. If you must eliminate things in order to meet the budget constraints, please find some other way.
Thank you very much. Okay, Marion Mann.
Before I start my time, I'd like to let everyone know that Channel 7 said that Daly City was putting together this safe exchange thing, and we got some great compliments. So if you go, I think it was Channel 7 at 5, so check it out, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. When I went to Dolger today, I was a little late, and I thought I was walking into a hornet's nest. I would estimate 50 seniors came down on me and said, they want to take away Engine 95. And I said, Engine, whatever. And they said, this is our fire people, and they have to take care of us. And I said, well, yeah. And they said it's because of budget constraints that they figure that it's a little car, a little truck or something, so they could take it away. I told them I would come here tonight and find out what is the actual thing that's going on, so I can go back and give them an honest answer, okay? So, you can take my extra minute so you could let me know so that I can go to them. But I did notice with this adoption of salary and whatever's, this is a terrible thing for them who are watching to see if they feel they're going to be losing medical services. Of course, I'm prejudiced since the fire department saved my grandson's life. But if you could explain to me so I could come back and tell them, please, you could use the rest of my time.
For you, Marion, I will. I'll tell you this much. No one's closing Fire Station 95, okay?
And they're not taking the truck out.
What we've done is we've asked every department to cut budgets. We've asked every department, including the police department, to cut budgets by $2 million.
Okay.
Okay? So what's happened is there's been a communication by one half of the fire department that believes that the only way to achieve $2 million is closing a fire station without the benefit of having us. We haven't even discussed budget yet. We don't start budget hearings until Wednesday, as you know.
Yes.
And the fire department will be here to present their budget and their proposal for how they want to achieve $2.5 million of savings on May 17th. So you might want to tell your seniors, if they want to, they can come here. They're welcome to come. it's open to the public on May 17th. I think it's at 5:30, if I'm not mistaken, where we
Okay.
discuss the fire department budget. So they can come here and listen to what the fire department, what the chief has been asked to do is to cut his budget. So somewhere in the mix, the Daly City Firefighters Organization decided that this is what's going to happen, or this is the only way to achieve it. We haven't had, the council here has not had the benefit of even discussing this with the fire chief or with the city staff.
Okay.
So we will do it, however, on May 17th.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it because I had no idea what was going on, and wow, you couldn't believe the hornet's nest.
I can imagine. All right, thank you. Pamela DiGiovanni. You're done? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. Dana Smith. Good evening again.
Good evening again. I heard an argument up here about fairness in salaries. And I noticed that the three of you that voted for this salary increase had no problem cutting Annette Hapona's salary by 50% after she was elected. She was the only person, the only executive staff ever to be targeted with that huge of a raise. And the argument back then was budget crisis. And the crisis has only gotten worse and worse and worse. And yet Annette is dedicated enough, because she has spent 10 years fighting these bloated salaries of executive staff, that she said, if you're including me in this raise, do not give this raise. I think that's incredible. I mean, what city official has ever said, don't raise my salary because it's not the right thing to do? I mean, that's extraordinary. And you talk about fairness. Exactly how fair was it that she was targeted as the only person to have her salary cut by 50%? And here she is willing to come up and say, do not give a raise even to me.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. All right. We're now at reports, appointments. Are there any appointments to boards or commissions?
Yes.
Mr. Gingona.
I don't have his resume with me, but I'm going to be appointing a gentleman by the name of Beyong.
You got your name on there.
Beeyong is his first name. His last name is Sison, Sison. And if you frequent Hillside Park ever, you'll see him there. He is always at Hillside Park. He's tennis. In fact, I think he's the head tennis coach at Sarah. So, good guy. Wish you guys all, hopefully you'll all meet him fairly soon. And he is energized, excited. Once on the Philippine national team, has played Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, the French Open. He is a great tennis player, and he teaches as well. So,
And you're appointing him to which commission?
Park and Rec.
Park and Rec, okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, could you repeat his name one more time? I didn't catch it.
Beyong, Beeyong, last name Sison, Sison, as in Nancy.
And that's an
Okay.
appointment to the Parks Commission?
Yes, please.
Okay. Any objection? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, welcome to the commission, Mr. Sison. All right, item number 14, any reports from any council committees? I don't have any in the binder. I don't think anybody met over the last couple weeks. Any reports from city council? Yes, Mr. Gilbert.
Had a great Student of the Year celebration. We went to, where was it? We were at the Coleman Community Center, Student of the Year, Jefferson Elementary School District. Met a lot of great kids, a lot of great parents. That was on Friday. That same day at around 8:30 to 10:30, there was a senior expo at Dolger where we connected a lot of seniors with a lot of direct service and service referral. And that was a great event as well. Last thing is, what else did we do? That's about all I can think of.
Okay, all right. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. Anything from the staff? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Christensen, go ahead.
I'm saddened by having to even talk about this issue. Many people in our city received a recorded phone message from our Teamsters Union. It was deliberately misleading and I believe totally politically motivated. and I'm very angry about it. People are frightened, and if you get the language that was in it, because I had someone who had it recorded and transcribed it word for word, the words describing one of our council members as putting our safety at risk by seeking to eliminate our local Daly City Police 911 emergency services. Now, when you think about that, what do you think it means? You think it means getting rid of the police, the fire, and the EMS. No, it's not that at all. And no one is seeking to do anything. There have been no votes. There have been no motions. There have been, the council has not proposed anything. So how can you accuse one of us of doing that? And then they talk about ignoring local law enforcement, about talking about the dispatch issue, and it was actually, if you were here, it was actually proposed by our chief of police. You can't get any more law enforcement than that. The chief of police suggested, we have not voted on it, we've had intense discussions and community input on the possibility of moving 11 police dispatchers down to sit side by side, elbow to elbow, with our fire and EMS services who have been at the county communication center for more than a decade, more than 15 years, almost 20 years. So the quality EMS service that you're getting and fire service, that's going to stay the same. The fire department and EMS people will be here. The dispatch will stay down with the county, and the police will be here. And the only thing that's even up for discussion is moving 11 dispatchers to sit next to our fire and EMS dispatchers. There will be continued discussions, continued input. Nobody on this council has made a decision one way or the other. And for a phone call to target one of us, and wouldn't you be surprised? They didn't target me. They didn't target Mr. Canepa here, who's running for supervisor. They didn't target the mayor, Sal Torres. They didn't target Buenaventura, who's here. And who do you think they targeted? Mike Gangona, and he also is running for supervisor. All I say is, what does that make you think? So I hope that people will think about the issue and not be tricked by totally misleading information that's coming out in a campaign. It leads me to believe that this campaign is going to be dirty, sort of like our national campaign, which is a disaster. And to think, and to, if something sounds too bad to be true or too good to be true, it probably isn't true. So that's my soapbox for today.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, any reports from the staff? Okay. There's a motion, before we adjourn completely, Mr. Gangona would like to adjourn in memory of somebody.
Oh, I would too.
This is going to be a little bit
Yeah,
different.
I'd like to do.
I've asked to adjourn in memory of Marla Zamora. You may have heard that on Friday, a former public defender in San Francisco was brutally murdered in her own house. I met Marla Zamora in 1987. I think Rose and I both worked with her for a number of years at the Public Defender's Office. Let me just say one thing about Marla Zamora. Rather than talk about her horrible, horrible death, let me just talk about what she was like in life. Marla Zamora was one of the all-stars in San Francisco. The same kind of a trial attorney that you would think about when you think about names like Marty Lurie, Doug Schmidt, Garrick Liu, Jeff Adachi, Darrow Inouye. These are the all-stars. These are people that when I was growing up as a public defender, they said, watch these people argue. Learn from these people. And let me just say that I learned a lifetime of law just by watching Marla Zamora do cross-examination and closing arguments. She was a diehard. She was a fighter. She taught us all to care more than we actually cared. She made you care more. And I just want to say to Marla, thank you for your life. Thank you for the people that you've touched. We're all going to miss you. Rest in peace.
Ms. Christensen.
I'd like to adjourn this evening in memory of Leah Petroni. She was a member of our community for years and years and years. Her sister, Mary Ann Petroni, who probably sounds like a very familiar name, she was on our school board for years and took tremendous care and responsibility for her sister. There will be a special place in heaven for Mary Ann for taking such good care of her sister. Leah loved to sing, she loved to draw, and she was so incredibly proud that she was able to work and to have a job and to contribute. She worked for Southern Pacific. I want to say that a lot of people in the neighborhood are going to miss Leah, and we want to send out our deepest sympathy to Mary Ann and her family for the loss of her beloved sister. I'd also like to just mention, not in memoriam, but in honor of Eleanor Charleston, who has been here receiving awards many times in the last 2 or 3 years, reached 100 years old this last week. Awesome.
Mr. Canepa?
Just want to adjourn in memory of Larry Minix. Larry is the father of Janine Minix and a longtime resident of Westlake. He'll definitely be missed by not only his family, but by others.
And our final two adjourned memories, Vera Caldwell Simmons. This is former Daly City Library Director Carol Simmons' mother, passed away. And also Harlan D. Ritchie. This is Public Works Senior Civil Engineer Haywan Ritchie's father-in-law. And to those families, we send them our condolences and wish them prayer and solace in these times. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.